There are moments in love that no one warns you about. Not the first kiss, not the butterflies, not even the arguments. They warn you about those, but nobody warns you about the morning you sit across from the person you love most in the world and watch something change in their eyes. Something quiet. Something final. Nobody warns you about the moment love becomes a battlefield, and the one you trust most picks up a weapon to protect you from a war they are fighting alone. This is episode 27 of High Heels and High Towers, and today, Min Jun almost broke Ji-won's heart trying to save it. Ji-won smiled as she turned another page. She had fought for this, begged, lost sleep, cried in office bathrooms, and rebuilt herself 3 times over, and now here it was, stamped, signed, and greenlit. The documentary project. Her father's name. Her family's dignity, all of it. Finally, within reach. She was still smiling when she heard his footsteps. Min Jun's footsteps were something she had learned to recognize the way you learn a language, without realizing it, until one day the meaning just comes to you without effort. But this morning, they were wrong. Too slow, too heavy. She looked up before he even reached the table. "You're not smiling," she said. He sat down across from her. He did not greet her. He did not touch her hand or steal something off her plate the way he always did. He just looked at her, and then he slid his phone across the table. Ji-won's eyes dropped to the screen. One anonymous message. And in that one paragraph, everything they had built together was threatened to come apart. Release the documentary and your mother's secret donation to the Hong Kong fund goes public. Leave Ji-won now, or her company falls with you. The calf noise faded. The river disappeared. The binder in her hand suddenly felt very heavy. "Seo Ra," Ji-won said. Her voice was flat, cold. The way stone becomes cold in winter. Not from weakness, but from having absorbed too much. Min Jun nodded once. She found the weakest thread. He said quietly, "My mother. 4 years ago, she had been so small in that bed." Min Jun's mother, this woman who had always seemed made of something stronger than ordinary people, looked small, breakable, like the world had finally remembered she was human. She pressed his hand between both of hers, the way she used to when he was a child and afraid of thunder. "I took the money," she whispered. "For your treatment. Not for me. Not for your father. For you." He had opened his mouth to argue. "Don't," she said. "Don't carry this. Let me carry it. I wanted to see you healthy. I wanted to see you live." Her voice cracked on the last word. "That was worth everything to me." Min Jun pressed her hand to his lips and made a promise in that hospital room. "I won't let anyone find out. I will protect you, always." He had kept that promise for years, until today. Ji-won was quiet for a long moment. The kind of quiet that is not empty. The kind that is very, very full. "She has backed us into a corner," Ji-won said finally. No, Min Jun's jaw tightened. "She has backed me into one. You are not part of this." Min Jun, he stood up. And that single movement, that quiet, decisive standing, sent a crack through Ji-won's chest. "I will handle this," he said. Alone, she rose to her feet so fast the binder nearly fell off the table. "Don't you dare." Her voice was not loud. It did not need to be. "Don't you dare leave me." He looked at her, then really looked at her. And there was something in his eyes she had never seen there before. A helplessness that broke her far more than anger ever could. "I am not leaving you, Ji-won," he said. "I am protecting you." "That is the same thing," she said. "When you do it alone, that is the same thing." But he was already turning away. Soo-jin turned the envelope over in her hands. "Give this to Ji-won," Min Jun said. "If I don't come back tomorrow." She stared at him. "Min Jun? What are you?" "Please," he said. "Just that. One word." And Sujin had known Min Jun long enough to understand that when he said please like that, he was holding back something enormous. She pressed the envelope to her chest. "You are scaring me." The faintest smile crossed his face, not a happy one. "Good," he said. "That means you understand what is at stake." He straightened his jacket, took a breath, and walked out of the office like a man walking towards something he could not escape. Seo Ra looked at him the way a person looks at something they have already decided the value of. "So," she said, "you got my message. I am here to give you what you want." She tilted her head slowly, one eyebrow rising with the leisure of someone who has always known she would win. "You will leave her. On one condition." His voice did not waver. "You delete everything. Every file. Every message. Every threat. Clean." She smiled over the rim of her glass. "I cannot promise that." "Then I have no reason to cooperate." He said it simply. No rage. No dramatics. Just the quiet certainty of a man who has decided where his line is. He turned to leave. "I will destroy her," Seo Ra said. Her voice dropped to something sharp and precise. "I will destroy everything she has touched, including you." He paused. "One breath. Two. You already tried," he said without turning around. "And she's still standing, still building, still creating something that matters." He glanced back over his shoulder. "You, on the other hand, have nothing left to lose. Because you never built anything worth losing." He walked out, the champagne glass trembled in Seo Ra's hand. That night, the envelope was ordinary. White. Sealed. Her name written in Min Jun's handwriting. The handwriting she had spent months learning to read because he always wrote too fast. Letters leaning slightly to the right as if they were in a hurry. She opened it slowly. The pressed flower came out first. A small blue bloom, dried carefully between pages, still holding its shape from their first date. The botanical garden, she had laughed at him for picking it up off the path and tucking it into his jacket pocket with the solemnity of a man preserving something precious. She had not known then that he was. Then the USB stick. Then the letter. "If you are reading this, it means I could not protect both you and my mother at the same time, so I chose you. I always choose you. Even when I am too proud to say it out loud. Continue the documentary. Tell the story. Our story. Exactly as it happened. Every stumble, every door that closed in your face, every morning you got up anyway. Because I still believe your story is worth telling. I still believe you are worth everything I am about to lose. I love you." Part 21. Even when I am terrible at showing it the right way, Min Jun. The paper shook in her hands, not because she was afraid, because she was furious. She set the letter down gently on the floor, pressed her palms flat against her knees, breathed, and then she stood up, grabbed her coat, and walked out the door. Seoul streets and train station. Early morning. She did not know exactly where he was. She knew him. She knew the way he thought when he was trying to disappear without actually wanting to disappear. She knew the route he walked when the weight of something became too much for the inside of a room. She knew that when Min Jun Kang felt cornered, he always went somewhere he could see the way out, the train station. She found him there, standing on the platform with a bag at his feet and his hands in his pockets, staring at the departure board with the expression of a man rehearsing something he did not fully believe. Min Jun. He spun around. She was still running, hair loose, eyes bright with tears she had refused to let fall until this moment. Heels hitting the station floor with the sound of someone who did not care about anything except getting to him. She reached him, and she slapped her palm flat against his chest. Not in anger, but the way you touch something to make sure it is real, to make sure it is still there. "Don't you ever," she said, breathing hard, "try to protect me by leaving me." He stared at her. Something in his face cracked open. "I thought I had no choice," he said. His voice came out rougher than he intended. You always have a choice, she said. And the right choice has always been us. Together, even when it is hard, even when it terrifies us, even when we lose. He reached up slowly and cupped her face in both hands. He looked at her the way you look at something you came too close to losing to ever take for granted again. I'm sorry, he whispered. His voice broke on it. I am so sorry. You are forgiven, she said. Now come home. They kissed. Not the perfect kind. Not the soft, slow, polished kind that happens when everything is resolved. This was the other kind. The desperate kind. The furious kind. The kind that says, I almost lost you and my body has not recovered from that knowledge yet. The kind that only happens when everything is on the line and you choose each other anyway. Love is not always flowers and first dates. Sometimes it is a letter left behind. A pressed flower from a path you walked together when you were still figuring out what you meant to each other. Sometimes love is running through Seoul in heels at 5 in the morning because a goodbye was not something you were willing to accept. Min Jun Kang spent 4 years protecting a promise he made in a hospital room, and Ji-won spent her whole life learning that the people who love us most are sometimes the ones most afraid to let us love them back. But she caught him. She always does. The fight is not over. Seo-ra still has one move left. And the documentary, their truth, still needs to be told to the world. But tonight they go home together. And sometimes, that is enough.